Greetings and welcome to the November edition of The Place to Be Oshkosh. I'm your host, John Neiman. So glad that you could join us for this, our November Thanksgiving show, a time to thank a lot of people for all the blessings that we have in our lives and the good that's going on in our lives and also in our community. I'd like to take the time, as I always do, to thank our sponsors for this show. Without their monetary gift, we couldn't put the show on. So I'd like to thank COTS Transitional Housing out of Appleton and also now in Oshkosh, one of our major sponsors. And of course, the other sponsor is the Oshkosh Herald with Karen, a wonderful community newspaper. It brings pictures back in of events that are going on in our community. People love to read about the obituaries of people because they didn't used to see them before. Now they're in the newspaper. So much local stuff going on. Hats off to the Oshkosh Herald. Also, set design is by Brian at U Bloom on Witzel. He's still open with stuff out in the garden center because Thanksgiving is the time to celebrate. So he still has mums and fall plants and lots of wonderful seasonal decor. Where can you watch our show? Well, this is great because I don't have to read the whole list off. Thank you to the crew who put it on there. Of course, you can go to YouTube and just type in Oshkosh Media and the show will show up, or otherwise you can go to Roku, Amazon, Fire, Apple TV, and you can also see us there. When can you see us? Our show will air the entire month for 5 of the 7 days of the week, and that is tremendous. So I always like to give a hats off to our wonderful crew here. I just have to say something, and it shows up on the screen. Talking about November and Thanksgiving, people are in need. People are in need all the time, but especially during the holidays, it's hard for a lot of people. So I'm so grateful for the agencies that we have in town that reach out and help people, especially during the holidays. Agencies that help out with food, like the Salvation Army and a hot meal, or Father Cars, who is doing their annual Thanksgiving meal on Thanksgiving, or the Oshkosh Area Community Food Pantry, which does so much for people. So this is a chance for a lot of people to give back by doing food donations to local food pantries, by opening your home to someone who may be in need, a neighbor who's lonely, or a friend. So I love this time of year. It's great. No snow yet. But it's just a chance for us to sit back and count our blessings and all the good that's in our lives and then share it with others. Also, if you have any ideas of guests or agencies that you'd like to see on this show, please feel free in contacting. My email's on the screen, and so is my telephone number, 920-279-9873. We're always trying to highlight different organizations, different not-for-profits, different businesses that use volunteers and that are making a difference in our wonderful community of Oshkosh. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. After the commercial, we'll be back with our second segment of The Place to Be, Oshkosh.
My name is Mike, and I'm the DAV.
My name is Annette, and I am the DAV.
I'm Lee, and I'm the DAV.
I'm Dick, and I am the DAV.
I'm Steve, and I'm the DAV.
I'm Rod, and I'm the DAV.
I'm Adam, and I'm the DAV.
I am George, I am the DAV.
We are the DAV.
DAV, fulfilling our promises to the men and women who serve.
Welcome back. Thank you again for joining us. I'd like to introduce my guests to you. We have John and we have Bill, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I screw up names an awful lot, except I can't screw up John Damel's name. But even though Bill told me how to say his name, I'm wavering right now between which way was the right way. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves and your job title, and then we can talk about why we're here.
Okay. Hi. Well, first, thanks for having us today. It's great to be able to come out and speak to you a little bit about what we're doing at the Department of Human Services. I am Dr. Bill Topol, and I've been here about 15 years in this community. I'm originally from up north and have found Oshkosh to be a wonderful place to live and to work and to help out. So I'm just very grateful. I'm the director of the Department of Human Services for Winnebago County and have been for my time here. And I'm looking forward to talking to you more about what we're about today.
Oh, great. And John?
John Damel, Winnebago County Executive. Here I am, still standing.
Especially during all this busy time.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Well, we're here today to talk about the State Street Center. And people might be saying, what is the State Street Center? When did it open? I know Bill was giving me a little background, but I thought it was interesting because COTS is partnering with the State Street Center. And people are still going, COTS? What is COTS? So COTS is well established in Appleton. We just opened here in April in our community. And when I asked a couple people why the name COTS, I guess the father said, well, people need a place to rest their head. And thereby COTS. So that's what we're about. But tell me about the State Street Center and how it got started. What's the background of it?
Sure. Well, in human services, public human services, in any county, we are responsible to serve as the social safety net for people who don't have the ability to pay, or people who are maybe underinsured, or people who may be homeless, or people who just may be struggling to find the providers that they need. And so our mission is really in human services to provide mental health services and substance use services when no other service exists. And part of that array includes a community outreach to adults and to kids who, not for a treatment purpose, but just for a safe place to go and have some support. Maybe do a few arts and crafts, maybe learn a few things about how to get along better in life. And the State Street Center, its name, it comes from the street that it's located on. It's on State Street. It's a former Oshkosh by Gosh corporate headquarters building.
Gorgeous building, gorgeous. All you have to do is just say something and the crew puts it on. There's the building on the outside. It's a gorgeous building.
Yes, this part of the building is very old, as opposed to, it's also connected to a newer portion, which is actually the county's administrative building right around the corner from there. So yeah, it's a very accessible. It's close to bus routes. It's close to downtown. It's where a lot of folks are. So the idea of this community support is to try to help people who are in recovery from their mental illness or their substance abuse. It is not a treatment facility, but it's just a place to have a safe place to feel supported, maybe have something to eat or drink, maybe to chat with some of their caseworkers, or chat with just other peers that are maybe coping and trying to cope with what's happening in life. They may be able to do some fun things. There's the pool table. There's games. We have an activity calendar where you can work on. We're going to eventually have hopefully art, and here's a picture of the pool table and the big open area, which is nice. Doesn't feel confining. Lots of windows right off of the street where people can just hang out. And just feel comfortable not being asked to do anything in particular, but just to be, if they just want to be there and just be by themselves, that's perfectly fine too. Some people like to read. Some people just like to maybe talk with one other person. And so the idea here was here before I got here, but a couple of gals had put on a similar walk-in arrangement downtown Oshkosh probably about a decade ago, but it had to go out of business because it couldn't be staffed well. And we were able at this moment in time to be able to do it because we had some extra ARPA funding that came through our mental health block grant funding from the state and the federal government, and we thought, boy, we just need a good location. And we struggled with finding a good location downtown, and that's where my my boss, the county executive.
Yeah, I found out that he was looking for places to rent and throughout the community, and somebody reached out to me to say, hey, if the county's looking to rent it, why don't you just buy the building? And I said, well, what are we renting? And then I found out about it, and I talked to Bill, and I'm like, what about this space? And he thought it wasn't on the table because it's a nice building.
Yes.
But absolutely, I mean, what a better use for that position, and it's how close it is to the library. And for a long time, the library has had to be that safe space for these people, and it's not necessarily fair to them. Not that they were unwilling to do so, but we wanted a place also where we could have a little pressure relief for them as well.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with the location, and then with the new warming shelter going down the street, it's an ideal location. So when did it open?
It opened this spring, and right now it's very minimally staffed. We have one person who is the chief cook and bottle washer. Yep. Her name is Julie, and she actually ran a similar program in another county, and we were fortunate to get her. So she knew exactly what to do to set up the program and got going right away. And I want to let you know also that on average we have 20 people using this space every day, so over 100 people a week that come in and utilize it. And I think for a facility to have that much traffic is fantastic, because we want people to use it. We don't want people to just walk by and say, oh, what is this place, and I'm not sure if I can go there. No, anybody is welcome. If they need any kind of support for their recovery from mental illness or substance abuse, it's a friendly place to be. We can also help them get access to services that they might have had trouble accessing. So if they say, hey, I can never figure out what to do about this thing. Maybe I need some financial help. Maybe I need some support with my medical issues or support with my home life. We can try to help access and get them access to people at our department, which is not more than a block away anyway. Yep. Or we can get them connected to other agencies, nonprofits in town.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's about helping them navigate the system and filling out the forms for them. And sometimes, you have to guide them along the process. Mm-hmm. The days of telling people, here's the number to call, good luck, have to be over. Yeah. And I applaud Bill and his team for really taking that charge.
Right. And that is true, because we don't know the background of all the people and how they grew up and how they learned things, and everybody learns things differently. But I totally agree with you. With our residents at COTS too, some we can give a number and say call. Others, we sit with them and fill out the forms and go online. Mm-hmm. And the relationship that we have, that COTS has with the State Street Center, I really applaud. That's how I heard about it, is because every Monday, I've talked about it on the show, every Monday and Friday, we join together with the State Street Center, and we go and walk downtown. I've divided downtown into like 4 quadrants that we'll switch off on what we clean. And the people can either walk along with us, there we go, and there's Julie in the picture, they can walk along with us, or they can help clean if they want. And some just want to walk along for the conversation. But I've gotten to know people. We've even had 2 people come and ask for an application for COTS. So it's a great experience, and my COTS residents like it because it's a place they can go and hang out. Mm-hmm. Where you said it's non-judgmental. No one's preaching at you. No one is telling you all this stuff to do. You can just have some breakfast, do an art class, do meditation. So I think it's a great, wonderful service, and I appreciate the partnership, and I know the city appreciates it too, because we do a lot of cleaning downtown. Yeah. If I ever wanted to smoke, I would never smoke. Yeah. Again, after picking up all the cigarette butts that we pick up. But I do want to say one thing, because Julie and I were talking. We've noticed a difference since we started. We started this in July, and we've noticed a difference at the Sundial Square by the library. It's a lot cleaner now. So either people are watching us, or people are being more aware of what's going on. So it's called Downtown Care Team. If anybody's interested in joining us, area businesses too can walk along. It's every Monday and Friday, 8 o'clock. And yes, we're going to do it in the winter. We just have to see what the weather is like and all of that stuff. Some of the activities that there are there, we've talked about. I know there's painting, because one of my residents is an artist. What else is there?
So we do publish a monthly schedule. So people can see what we're doing. The biggest event that people like the most is bingo on Fridays. So bingo is the highlight of the week.
Who calls bingo?
What's that?
Who calls the bingo?
I don't know exactly.
I would love to go down there and see. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So bingo is the highlight of the week. We also obviously are trying to develop more classes that maybe some folks in the community who have an interest in maybe teaching something, in a half an hour or an hour about a craft, art, music, yoga, nutrition. So there's all kinds of scheduled that we can schedule events around each day. The calendar is still mostly wide open. So if people want to donate some time, we'd be glad to have them come down and help sponsor a class. We're just trying to get people to have a few things that they can look forward to each day beyond simply coming and recreating and hanging out with their peers. If they want to take part, but there's no pressure. You do not have to take part if you do not want to. You are absolutely right that this is not a judgment zone, a pressure zone. This is not trying to get people into treatment that don't want to be. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, show support and friendship and give back.
Well, there are some programs there too. We have the Smart Recovery program that we do down there, where people can join. But again, there's no pressure to do it. If you want to hang out in the common area and play pool while the recovery meeting is going on, you can. Hopefully, over time you build up confidence and you walk into the room. That's our hope. To eventually get to people some of the treatment, but you can't force somebody there.
No, you can't. So is that Smart Recovery a scheduled class then?
Yes.
It's on the calendar?
Yes, on the calendar. Also on Monday afternoons, starting at 4, we have a group for teenagers. Because most of the time it's adults coming to the center, but teenagers are welcome too. There's a specific group for teenagers, and again, it's not so much oriented around recovery, although that might be part of the topics that are covered. It's more about whatever the issues are that's happening in the teenage world these days. Friendship issues, maybe school related things, or maybe just how to better get along at home. So those are the kinds of things that they explore on Mondays, and that's a pretty consistent Monday activity. And so at that time, pretty much that's only for teenagers.
It is.
It's not adults are not there at that time.
Okay.
Because our hours are, I believe it's 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. And so it's not 8 to 5, unfortunately, but we needed to come up with a time frame that we could staff, and then we have some things that we have to follow up on then in the later afternoon. That's why we close right now at 3
It's a good place to start.
It's a good place to start.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
And I'd rather, when people start something, I'd rather have them start small than when you start big with something. There's so many factors that go into it. Starting small, you can always build. Just got the calendar, and there were 2 interesting things: a craft fair and a a Halloween party, I think.
Yeah. We held a pizza party at Halloween.
I mean, I think that is so cool. And then to invite the public in to go Christmas shopping, that the people who come there, who visit, the guests that are there, are hosting a craft fair. I think that is so cool.
Well, sometimes you have to meet the population. People tend to judge situations from afar, and they don't know what's going on, or they don't know the people themselves. And I've had this conversation with multiple people. There's one gentleman that I talk to on a regular basis whose family died in a car accident. So you don't know the struggles that led them to be there. Once upon a time, he was a very successful businessman. So you need to get out and meet the people before you want to pass judgment, because Lord knows I can improve in a lot of things that I do in my life.
But I totally agree with you that the world that we're in today, everyone is so quick to judge instead of so quick to put out your hand and help. And to know the stories and the backgrounds of all the people, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or mental health. There's so many things that play a part in it. Our residents at COTS are the same exact thing. They're either battling alcohol, drugs, or mental health, or a bad divorce, where it just totally wiped them out.
Right.
And the thing I really like about it is because they're sick of hearing me talk sometimes, but they can go down there, they can go to the State Street Center, and they can meet other people, and they hear the same message just coming from someone else. Like a parent, a parent can tell your child something, but if a neighbor or a favorite uncle tells them something, they'll listen to them. So, but I love that whole aspect of the whole State Street Center, and just drop in. Drop in, and Julie's great. Julie knows the people's names, she knows their stories. It's a great place.
Yeah, it's very personable, and also a very new event happened at the State Street Center very recently. We started collecting items for a clothes closet and some other items that people who, if they have a need, can not have to go to another location like St. Vincent de Paul or Goodwill. It's a small. I'm not going to say it's a large area, but it's an area where people have donated some of their gently used clothing and some other goods, and if people have a need, we can actually have them I don't have a picture of that, unfortunately, for you today, but we just initiated that area too for people who need something right now, and that would have a hard time even getting across town to look for some clothing or some other household items that we could just provide them right then and there.
That's really a good idea, because you're right. The other agencies that would do this are either way out on Jackson or way out on Kohler, and this is right downtown.
Well, it's a transition piece too until the David Day opens their shelter, because I know they had plans to have clothing there too, and that was a big part of it, and that was some of the hurry for us to get it open this April. So when David Day shut down for the summer, that we would have a place for them to transition until hopefully we have a warming shelter, a homeless shelter year round.
Yeah, which would make a difference. Wow. But, and I guess there would still, we were talking about stigmas before, there's still the stigma of the homeless shelter or of a drop-in center, and somebody might not, I found that out even during COVID when people lost their jobs and they had to take their children or their grandchildren in. They didn't want to ask for help because they felt too proud to do it. So somebody might come to the State Street Center and ask for something besides going to the Day by Day, just because of the stigma of it all. But I think that the more resources we have, the better. And I love the idea, like you said, about the library, because the library is the hub everywhere. But when COVID hit, the library couldn't do it either. So
right.
And the other advantage of having this is that if somebody is not doing well, we can offer services and we can understand that that's happening in real time, whereas for us at the county, we typically have to wait until someone notifies us that somebody's having a hard time. And sometimes that's a fair ways down the road, and the person may have had some real struggles and may be looking at hospitalization. We want to try to help people in the moment with managing their mental health or managing their recovery. And again, nobody's going to force it. We're just going to offer that. But one of the advantages of having a place like this is that we can potentially see that someone is, starting to struggle, and then we can offer things right then and there.
That's a great point. When you touch these people on a daily basis, when you get to see in front of them, you get to know their habits, you can realize when they start to slide, maintenance is so much easier than managing crisis. And that is really a goal of ours, is to make sure that we're maintaining people in a realm or in a space that's manageable, because sometimes crisis isn't.
Well, and like you said too, maybe they're just going to come in there to try it out, to see, and once they start seeing everybody and trusting everybody, then they can share more of what they have. I just remember this one girl that walks with us. She started out very, very quiet, and all of a sudden she's talking and sharing her life story and how walking every morning helps her lose weight and all this. It was remarkable, but you have to learn to trust people in order to do that.
Yeah, it's all about relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what are the plans? Any additional plans for the State Street Center, or?
Obviously, you want more collaboration. We want to get more involvement from the other people that handle this world. to come in and be a little bit more of that co-op space, because and Bill knows this is a big thing for me, is collaboration, to reach out, find the players, and see how we can help each other. Because if we all lift at the same time, we're communicating, we can move mountains.
Mm-hmm.
But when everybody else is trying to do things on their own, you're wasting energy and you're not affecting anything. You may have a little change here or there, but it's not real effective foundational change.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the plans is to find out more of what's going on in the community and figure out what are those resources we can combine. We want to keep making our list bigger.
Right.
And I agree with that, especially because, the key word a couple years ago was silos. Everybody's in their own silo and nobody wants to tear down the silo and join together. But I kept thinking too, why reinvent the wheel? If somebody's already doing something, join with them. People, I think, they think they're going to lose something if they join, but you're not. You're going to gain something. And by working together with collaboration, we gained a shed. Because of you, we gained a shed. We gained a shed to put all of our stuff in to help downtown. And that's all you get from collaboration. It's help from people.
Right, and so many topics like housing insecurity, financial insecurity, struggles with mental illness that we're so focused on in the country. I mean, all of our agencies, both public and private, we all are touching part of that. We're all doing something about that. And one of the things that John has really talked about a lot inside the county is about partnering to make sure that we're not being redundant, to make sure that we're not both covering the same territory and then leaving another area totally untouched. So we really do have to communicate. We really do have to make sure that we understand what each other's doing and be complementary to each other, and not competing for the same area because we don't have enough service overall.
Yeah, how do you do the handoff?
Right.
Just because it's not a county service doesn't mean it's not a service in the county. And for us to really see what that map looks like, I think it's really been crucial. Even within the county, you think about the move with Veteran Services over to the Human Services Building and how they are working together with the ADRC now is been amazing. And the teams to come together and figure out how we can absolutely holistically help somebody or have to county around somebody. If a veteran comes in and is struggling, they can actually walk them downstairs to a crisis counselor to deal with them right then and there if need be. So that same concept with our nonprofits and the other organizations that are helping it, and the more we communicate and collaborate, the better it is.
And I think it's like the hospital system started this, the care teams, of having your entire care team there. So if you find out you have cancer, your care team is there and they can counsel you and all that there instead of having to travel to another place. I agree. That's so important. I always think of Sue Ponick on this too, because Sue Ponick always said, why reinvent the wheel? She got the groups together. Like the back to school fair used to be, everybody did their own back to school fair. Now it's one collaborative huge event. The same thing with Christmas. Everybody was doing their own little Christmas, but now it's together and people are working together with the resources. So, I'm the keeper of the clock here, and it's going fast. Anything you want to wrap up with?
Just been a pleasure. Thank you for having us. Anytime we get a chance to talk about what we're doing, I always mention to John, we're the best kept secret in Oshkosh because we're the public safety net, and we honestly don't advertise because we have plenty of work to do. But we also want to know, also want the public to know that we're here, and if they can't receive services elsewhere, you can at least call and reach out to us. We'll try to help you ourselves or try to get you connected to where you need to be.
Yeah, and I always, public services is this realm of human service that we in. It's not like a business. It's not a competition. And I think that's what we have to get over when we look at our nonprofits and ourselves. This is how do we help each other? Nobody's trying to corner the market when it comes to human services.
No.
And I think I've seen some movement in that, and it's really good, but we still have some work to do there. So if anybody's watching at home and they have ideas or a service and they want to reach out to us, absolutely. I think we're the longer we can build that list, the better off we all are.
And I think that is a good point to end on. To our audience out there, if you have some gifts or talents, like they do at the Senior Center for the seniors, people come in and do different classes, teach different things, talk about different things. They could use that. You guys could use that help at the State Street Center too. You know, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for watching. This is John Neiman with The Place to Be, Oshkosh.